Good morning, everyone, and Merry Christmas. I wanted to do something that I have always meant to do, but I've never done, make a holiday gift guide for all of you. Again, I've never done this, so it might be a little rough. It's something I get asked for a lot because I have 6 children. So we have a pretty good idea of the things that like really last, like the high value toys that get used continuously, that don't get like played with once and then tossed to the side, that don't make the bigger messes, or what does make a bigger mess but's worth it. So YouTube has added this little like shopping button down here, and I'm going to try to add some of the things that I say to that, but I want to warn you right now that I'm not looking at that first. That's not the reason why I'm doing this. I just would do it to make it easier for you all. So not everything I say will be in the shopping tab. I just didn't want to have any bias at all, so I didn't even look at what was available on there. So some things will be tagged in there and some things won't. But I will try to put everything into my link tree, which you can find in the description box and like on my Instagram bio. I'm trying to get organized with this stuff, and I feel like it's kind of happened naturally throughout the years. So I feel like wise and ready to pass on my wisdom and my experiences to you all. So I'm kind of excited about it. Also, the kids really wanted to be a part of this video, so some of them are going to join in and share their experiences on some of these things. So let's talk about toys first. There are so many toys in the world, right? And so many things you can choose from. You could fill your house to the brim with toys. You could spend $1 million on toys. You could spend $0 on things to play with, and your kid's gonna be happy. I'm a big like thrift store person. I think that's always a great way to go. Please don't let any of this guide like discourage you or make you think that you have to buy any of this new. Some things you probably do, but for the most part, there are a lot of things that can be repurposed and reused, which is really cool. These are magnetiles. You can get ones that cost less that aren't name brand. I was a little bit worried about not getting the magnetile because there was this Facebook parenting horror story where I think, see how there's this rivet here? Not all of them have this, and this makes it extra secure at the corners because you have little tiny magnets inside. And I think what was happening was kids would like hit them and they would break, and then these little magnets were accessible to smaller kids and they were getting really hurt with it. I don't know that that's still a possible thing. It's just in my brain, I was like, okay, it's gonna be worth it to spend the money on the name brand thing that's supposed to be safer. So that's why I got official magnetiles. That's my reasoning for it. I don't really know, that's just why I got these. The thing is that magnetiles themselves are very expensive, but they're very easy to clean. They last forever. They are entertaining forever. You don't need to keep buying more and more. Once you have a few sets, once you have even one set, you're good for a long time, and it's simple and it's easy, and they're super simple to like pack away and clean up quickly, but they can also be like spread out and you can build a ton with them. So these are really good building toys. You'll notice we have a lot of like various building things. Lego, I have a feeling everybody knows what that looks like. Tried and true, like Lego's a great gift, it lasts forever. When you buy that name brand product, it's more expensive, but for us, it was really worth it to have all the pieces always interchange and things like that. So we actually don't buy anything that isn't a name brand Lego building block because we don't want to have them not match. And that's like my advice too. Like, try to be intentional with your products so you don't have like a mix of too many different things that don't work together. Which brings me to these building blocks. These we just got in like the last year, and it's a bigger set, but I just think they are so neat. They're somewhat of a new product, but they're magnetic, a little expensive. I can't really remember how much they cost. I feel like it was around $20 for like a box this big of them. So we didn't get a ton, but I feel like there's a lot of longevity in here. And the reason I got them was because we're so into the magnetiles. I thought it would be nice to have something that would work with the thing that we love, but also add some variety because we have all the magnetiles that we need. We don't have all the magnetiles, but we have all that we need. We in general really love different kinds of building blocks. And one thing that I had when I was a kid that my mom was like always like, oh, you need to get these, they're so great, were the like bigger, thicker Melissa and Doug or other brand, like the box with the big blocks. And those are very, very good. We've had them for a long time. I think they're in a closet now. We don't use them now. It's something that we bring out and rotate. They make me a little nervous sometimes because little kids go through phases where they'll throw or hit or do whatever with the thing, and they don't totally know what other things are delicate. Like they don't know that the window could break doing that, or that a person could get hurt doing whatever. They make me a little nervous because they can be dangerous even if you have the sweetest kids in the world. And I feel so much safer with these Kapla blocks. They look like this, and they are so simple. There's one shape. So I feel like some people would be turned off by that and just go like, oh, well, it's so simple. Like you can't do as much as like when there are the like triangle and the wedge shapes and all the different bits. But it means that they're super easy to clean up. We have this giant bin. I got this bin years ago, I think for Jacob, and it has stuck around, it's lasted, it's always in our living room. He builds the most intricate, incredible things. The other kids do too now, like, and what they do is they like stack them like this, and they can actually make them like come out in this bulb shape, like just incredible, incredible feats of architecture happening with just these very simple little blocks. Oh!
Hey, I just want to say, I was against getting the Kapla blocks at first because it was super simple, like she was saying. Like they're just these simple little blocks. I was like, this isn't gonna hold their attention. Hours of play, and that's just me playing with them. Like I'll sit there and stack them up with the kids, like hours and hours and hours of play. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, and I've actually seen them at several children's museums and science museums. I know they used to have them at the Vancouver Science Museum, and they also used to have them at the San Diego Science Museum. So there is a chance that you could play with them in advance if you have something like that around you. Okay, another thing that I absolutely love, like this is one of my favorite kind of random, not a lot of people have heard of it, gifts for kids, are these things called pluses. They look like that. Every piece looks the exact same, except for like, you know, they can be colorful, but they're all the same shape. They're a softer plastic than like a Lego is. And I don't even know how to describe it because they're not like that soft, but they are like, so they interlock like this, and it's so simple, but I'm telling you, endless entertainment. And people will come over, adults will come over and just kind of be like, what? And just sit down and start putting them together in different ways. You can kind of cube it like this. You can do things like this. You can make them kind of like different shapes. They're so compact. They're very easy to travel with. If you lose one, it doesn't mean that you can't make your set anymore. I love when it's just so simple. It's very engaging. Their brains are just like working away with these things. They've come up with so many different like make-believe pretend games. They play like house and store and town, and they've turned them into currency. They do all kinds of things with them, and they love them. And you can keep them really simple. I've noticed that they've started to make new packs where it's like their concepts where you're like building it into the shape of an animal. And I think that's fun to have around, but it's not necessary. Like you can just get the main base pack. Another absolute favorite, and yes, expensive thing. And actually this is really funny because the very first one of these, the way I got introduced to these, I never, ever, ever would have spent the money on this without this story I'm about to tell you. The way I got introduced to these was I was at a thrift store, and Bailey loved puzzles, and we were looking for like the Ravensburger puzzles that were like, you know, $1 or $2. And I was so bummed because we went and they were out. They didn't have any more that day. But they had this other random one, like, I don't know, it was just like a random puzzle, and I was like, okay, I guess we'll get that. It was $1, and I was like, okay, sure. And it was a Wentworth wooden puzzle, and it was a bigger one than this. It was one of the 250 piece sets, which is like a $60 puzzle when it's full priced. I never would have spent $60 ever, ever, ever on a puzzle. But consequently, they became Bailey's absolute favorite thing. And she asked for them for Christmas and birthdays as like her main present for years and years and years. This is Duncan's. He got this for Christmas last year, and they have a bunch of different ones. I think they're cedar. They're some sort of like nice wood, but they fit together really, really nicely. They're complicated. They're like smallish. They're not like obvious shapes, but they're also not terrible shapes. So it's a really, really good balance to me of like a challenging puzzle. I do not like the all black puzzles, or the ones that are like just two colors, or the ones that like all the pieces kind of are the same, so you you can't tell which one actually fits with what. Like, I do not like any of that. I like a good picture. I like doing pictures and like when they have letters and you just match up the letters really easily. So these are awesome, just like for those basic reasons. But then they also have what they call whimsy pieces. They'll add these laser printed whimsy pieces that go with the concept. So this is penguins. And Duncan loves penguins. There's like a heart in here. There are just a variety of these whimsy pieces and they're so cool. Like they're so neat. And then the pieces, as I said, they can be oddly shaped. They're not super obvious. Like you can't just look for the corners. They're really, really great puzzles. You have to look at the amount of pieces because I have found that they have these like tiny, tiny puzzles that can be really sweet for certain people. Like for example, I got that for my dad one year because he doesn't he doesn't want like a ton of stuff. He just wanted something like simple and pretty and kind of fun and interesting. And so I got him one of the tinier puzzles and I think those are like $20. So people buy those thinking that they're a normal puzzle and they don't realize that they're like these tiny puzzles. And so they get mad. Like they put reviews up that are like, oh, I got this tiny puzzle and I spent what cost like the amount that a regular puzzle should cost. But these are more like collector, long-term puzzles. There's something for like when you want to get something like really nice and high quality, something that will last forever and just be like kind of more cherished, more so than a puzzle that you do and then pass on. So if you're the kind of person that wants to do a puzzle once or the person you're gifting to, like they like to do it once and then they like to pass on their puzzles or, you know, donate their puzzles, then it's not really the right gift in that situation. But I think if you want something like beautiful that kind of you bring out for guests or you just like kind of keep forever, that's treasured. We do something on Christmas Eve where we'll have like a nativity scene or various like very Christmas themed puzzles that we bring out every year. So like we have them for that every year. And I think that that's really sweet. So they are like on the more expensive end, unless you find them at a thrift store for $1. That's like, that is my best find I've ever had. Like that's my best find. And I didn't even know it at the time. And I was like disappointed. I was like, I guess I'll get this puzzle. I'm so glad I got it. As soon as I opened it, I was like, oh, what is going on? Parker wants to share some of his favorites.
I love my fake phones. Like I used to have a Mickey Mouse one that was like a flip phone.
Yeah, Parker loves a fake phone and I feel like that is a really good gift for a lot of little kids. What's the other suggestion you have?
So they're called Duplos. We play with them. They're
like the toddler version of a Lego.
Yeah, they're bigger and they're like chunkier and they're just like super duper fun.
I feel like the Duplo are actually, they're out and more accessible kind of always. And the Lego sets, because we have such an age spread and we have to be a little bit more careful about the smaller Lego pieces, they get more put away. And the Duplo, we've got a basket, the kids pull it out. We'll store like a sheet or a blanket with the Duplo and then always lay out that sheet or blanket, and then they play on top of the sheet or blanket. So then you just scoop it up at the end and you can clean it a lot easier. Those are very good suggestions, Parker. Thank you.
Oh, I have one more thing. So Echo Dots are so helpful in our house. Our whole family is like theater, like loves music, loves Christmas time.
They love having their music at night when they go to sleep, and they can, on Amazon, they can make playlists for themselves, and
I have a whole Michael Jackson playlist.
You can set alarms with them. I feel like the access to music is still pretty mind-boggling to me, especially like growing up in an era where you had to buy cassettes and then CDs, and you had to like have stacks and stacks of CDs if you had a big interest in music. And now you can just have this little disc, and I think you can get them on sale for like $30, I think sometimes. I don't know what they are right now, but I feel like I got them on sale for like $29.99.
And now we have like a whole bunch of them, and I just love Echo Dots. Like they're so fun.
So Duncan's here. He wanted to share what his favorite things are.
This particular Wentworth puzzle,
Yes.
I really love it because it's penguins, and I love puzzles. I'm like the king of puzzles in this house.
Yes.
So, and this is like Wentworth, and I love this one because it has all these kind of shapes and stuff. Like, if you see right here, that's one of the shapes that's always in the Wentworth. Wentworth puzzles.
And one of the things that is cool about the Wentworth wooden puzzles is that they do have a variety of things. So for people who have specific interests, you can often find a puzzle that matches their personality, and you can actually custom make them as well. So last year I did like our family photo, and you can like pick out the whimsy varieties. So you can't pick out the individual ones, but they had a whole bunch of different styles like winter and nature and things like that, and you can make custom ones, and that is really cool.
And this is the particular one that is my favorite.
But this one is Duncan's favorite.
My next thing I can't bring out yet, but they're called noise toys.
We showed them in the vlog yesterday.
Yeah, we showed them in the vlog yesterday, but I can't bring out all of them.
But I will say with those, we don't keep those out year round. Those are for Christmas. They're a
Yeah.
very traditional thing for us. We're glad that we have them, and the kids just they laugh so much. They just crack up. And
My
it's really
favorite
fun.
one is this particular penguin.
All right, thank you for your suggestion, sweetie.
I'm gonna go do this puzzle.
Great. One thing that has been actually pretty inexpensive are various like activities like this. These are reusable sticker books, and they're puffy stickers. And these have just been Bailey's favorite things for years. And there's like a squirrel family. There's this one. There are these fashion ones. What other styles do they have?
I think my favorite one was the pet one.
The pets. There's like a pet store.
There was
So-
a pet store, yeah.
Definitely recommend these. They are not that expensive. So you want to get a kid who will sit long enough to play with these, but if you have that style of child, this is a great gift for them. And they do last a long time because the stickers come off and on. It's not just like a one-time sticker book. Another thing that we love for like 2-year-olds that are kind of along the same line as this are the water wows. So Bailey, will you actually grab a water wow for me?
Bye.
Okay, it's gonna look probably like a mess because we use these. We especially love these for travel situations. For a long car ride, they are fantastic. Little kids that don't have a lot of patience for long car rides can be very happy for a very long time with water wow. So this is a very, very loved water wow. Basically, you get this brush and it pops into here with a plastic piece, and you can kind of store it in the book, but it makes it an awkward shape, so I'll often just rip that off. And since I have so many of these, this way I can store them flat together, and then I just store the brushes in a different spot. It's nice that it has that potential, but it just didn't work for us. But you basically take the brush, and you go like this, and it colors in the picture. Like, how cool is that? And then some things get revealed as you're coloring it in. So like, here's a little cat that the fire person is rescuing, and there's a bird in the tree, and basically they sit there and they color this all in, and then turn the page, go to the next one, and then as they go, the water evaporates and dries, and the picture goes back to looking like this. There's this one in particular that goes onto a key ring style thing, and it's the ABCs, and that one can last like 2 hours because they'll flip it and do the A, flip it, do the B, flip it, and then get to Z, do it, and then flip it back to A.
And then the A is like
It's brand new again. So like the 2-year-olds don't really realize that they haven't finished their thing, and they just will do it forever.
let me see if I can find that one.
Yeah, that's a great one. I love that one. I love all of them, but that one's nice because it's like an endless loop, and it works really well for long car rides. And like this tool is just done well enough that you can bring it on the car ride for the most part and not worry about like a kid getting into it and spilling it out, not worrying about it spilling anywhere because like the brush only lets out a certain amount of water. Oh, here it is, the classic. So see, it's on this loop and it just goes around kind of forever. Let's see if the A can even, let's see if the A will work.
Yeah, we've
I
had
think
this
we
one
can do
for
this
a long
one.
time.
I've gotten this one a couple times even, like because it's like such a good one. So anyway, they'll just color it in like that, and they really love this motion doing this, and it's just great. Often, if you go to a store and they have this on the display, there's often like another one next to it that's invisible ink, and another one that's like similar, and it's got this pen that's like invisible ink.
These are fun, but they're not reusable.
They're not reusable, and they are fun, but I feel like they're definitely for an older age child. and they're a little bit more difficult. It's just a much narrower demographic, and I
one's
found
kind of more like 3 to like 7, and then the
Yeah.
other one is the like invisible ink ones. Those are more like 9, like 8.
they're older, and I also feel like less universally loved. I highly recommend the Water Wow sets. And then the other ones are like, okay. And having said all of this, another thing that I absolutely love to give are just experiences. It is very common in this day and age for a lot of stuff to accumulate, especially when you have a bunch of young kids. And I feel like there are parents who want to have the really high quality, high value toys and activities, but they don't want more than that. They just want to be like done with the stuff. And experiences are just fantastic gifts. I love receiving and giving memberships to families. So I think it is wonderful to gift a zoo membership, a children's museum, aquarium, science center. Like there are so many different things that you can become a member to, and then you have that whole year of experiences. And a family membership price is usually around the same price as 1 to 2 admissions, I've found. So like going to the zoo for 2 days with our family, I believe is more expensive than a year's membership. And also usually it comes with things like free parking or discounts inside of the restaurants or stores or gift shops, whatever. So I feel like memberships are super valuable. And if you're a grandparent or something and want to gift an experience to a family that will that they will value for the whole year, I think memberships are just a great buy. For years, my dad would give us a zoo membership for the year for our family Christmas present, and it was just amazing. We were so grateful for it, and it allowed us to have that experience all year long. It was so cool. Bailey and actually several of us love theater tickets. So there are either shows or music, a variety of experiences that you can see inside of a theater, magic shows. Those are really great gifts. Another thing you can get are like monthly classes for kids. So a lot of times that is such a huge expense for a family, but like the parents really want to give their kids the experience of like gymnastics or a music lesson or just or language, like whatever that child is very interested in. A lot of times those things can be unaffordable. So I think either doing something in person where you give like a monthly lesson, or if you have the ability to pay for like a year of lessons or something like that, that's really special for our family. Another thing that I love is an online platform called outschool.com. It's great for homeschoolers, but any child can do it. It doesn't matter, you don't have to be homeschooled. And there is tons of interest-based learning on it, and that's one of the things I love the most about it. But there are also things like math tutoring or music lessons, language, like there are all kinds of things, including typical education support, and then also elective style things and really interesting electives. So like if you have a kid that's very fixated on something that most people aren't interested in, it's great because you can find a teacher and a group that will be excited about that subject. And it's also neat because the kids have classmates from all around the world, and I love that because they've met people, you know, in Canada, in Australia, in Singapore, in various countries in Europe, like it's, and also various states in the United States. Like they've gotten to meet so many people from around the world. So I really think OutSchool is very cool. That's a place where you could gift lessons, and they're online Zoom style lessons, and usually very well run. And then also just like special time with a person. So like a local train ride, or like if a kid has a favorite restaurant, you can gift them like a gift card and then a little card that says like, let's go spend this evening together doing this, and just make it a special time together. And that's really sweet. And our kids also love just gift cards in general. So they especially love a local smoothie place and Starbucks gift cards. That's a big one. And I bet like Luke, now I think about it, this would be a really good present for Luke, but Luke would love like a Wetzel's Pretzels gift card. So Parker just heard me, he was like, oh, Luke would love that. So I think he'll probably get that. When I was a child, my big request for Christmas were book certificates. That's what I called them, because they were gift certificates. And we didn't even have gift cards at that point. To date myself a little bit, we had these piece of paper certificates that were like $5 or $10 to a bookstore. So I would say, I want book certificates, and that's what I would ask for from everybody. I just loved getting those gift certificates, and I would add them all up, and then I would get a ton of books that I loved. So I really liked getting those. Speaking of books, Bailey is here with a stack of books that she wants to recommend. Bailey, come on in. This is like kind of like a mini Bailey's bookshelf segment.
Yes.
But here are some faves.
Oh, I forgot the Mysterious Benedict's.
Okay.
So here are some of my favorite books. This one is really fun. This is the Mysterious Benedict Society. I could not find the first one, but I found the last one. This is the last one.
It's a series.
It is a series.
Are there 3 in them or
Most
4?
of these books are series. There are 4 of these books. One of them is set in like 20 years in the future or something. You know, like 10 years in the future? I don't know. I love this series so much. It's really fun. It's got a whole bunch of twists and turns. It's really cool. They made a TV show, but then they canceled it and took it off Disney Plus.
But it was a really
It was
good
a
show.
really good show.
It's really smart, too.
It is.
Very
It's
clever.
Very clever. It's got a lot of thinking in it. There are a lot
Fun
of
thinking.
like puzzles that you can solve before they do, which I did. Percy Jackson. I love Percy Jackson. I lent the first book to a friend, I think. I don't actually know what happened to my first book, but this is my second book in the series. It is a series. There are 5 books, and then there's another series that comes afterwards, like a few months after. That is also 5 books. Then there's one book that was published after the 3rd series, which is another Percy Jackson series told by the main character. And that book is really good. And then there's another 5-book series too. So
So a lot.
there's a lot.
Yeah.
If you get into this, you got to know what you're getting into, because it's a lot. And I had no idea when I started reading that I would be so caught up in like all of this whole world.
And they're coming out with a show.
They're coming out with a show.
the end of December. So
They
it's
had a movie,
timely.
but I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
Bailey would not recommend the movie.
I would not recommend the movie. I haven't seen the musical, but I've listened to all the music, and it seems pretty similar to the book. So I would recommend listening to the music.
Yeah, the kids are big fans of the musical music. It plays a lot.
This is the second series, the first book in the second series, Heroes of Olympus. I think this is better than the first series, which is kind of crazy. But
It's great.
I love this. I love this series. It gets a little darker, yet it is
Missing parts.
It has been used.
Much loved.
They're very funny. They're fast-paced, and you learn a lot about Greek and Roman mythology. But I definitely recommend reading into Greek and Roman mythology before reading those books, just so you actually understand what's going on. Keeper the Lost Cities. I have so much to say about this. It's just an incredible book series. If you like Harry Potter, which I do recommend you read if you haven't read it, this is Keeper of the Lost Cities. It is very good. I love it. I started reading this book series when I was 10, and then the books started coming out and I like caught up to it all. So yeah,
So you just have to reread them.
I
over
have
and
to
over.
just reread them over and over again. There are, how many books are out now?
There's at least 9.
10?
Yeah.
9 and a half.
Is this your favorite book series?
It's one of the 4.
Of your favorite book series is?
Yes.
Okay.
I have 4 favorite book series. Harry Potter, classic, love it. It's just like really well structured. And
It's the one that started them all.
Yeah,
For you.
yeah. And it's also really well structured in my English loving brain is like very happy with it. Percy Jackson, because it's very funny and I love it. These 4 are all tied for my first favorite. Counting the Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus book series, this is one book series, even though it's not.
Okay.
Keeper of the Lost Cities and The Hunger Games, which I do not have here, but I definitely recommend The Hunger Games, but that's one's more for teenagers, not children.
It's a great series.
It is.
And I thought you were going to say that one, the fairy tales one. Remember you used to read that all the time?
Oh, The Land of Stories? I love The Land of Stories.
Good one.
Didn't quite make it to my top #1 list, though.
Yeah, understandable. Is it for a younger audience or not really?
I'd say it's for like tweens.
Okay.
It's like some of it is and some of it isn't. Wonder. I love Wonder. This one I read when I was, I think, 12, something like that. Anyways, it's very good. It's very sad.
And it also has a great movie that was made.
It does. This book series is the Secret series. I love this series. It's very fun. It's similar to the Mysterious Benedict Society. So, yeah.
So puzzles and things like that.
Puzzles and things like that. And it's really interesting because the narrator kind of talks the whole time, kind of like Lemony Snicket in the Series of Unfortunate Events, which is also a great book series that I do not own. These two are just like my example of Roald Dahl books because those are the ones that I found around the house. My favorite one is Matilda, which they made an incredible musical out of. And I definitely recommend you see that on stage. And I was in it, so I guess I'm a little biased.
You loved it before
I loved it before that, yeah. This one is for more of like toddlers.
This is so sweet to see in your
love
list.
this book.
Because this was in my kindergarten class, this is the book that everybody fought over. It was like the cool person book. This is such a great book for like 4 to 7-year-olds.
Yeah, 4 to 7. It's really fun. It's kind of like I Spy, but with fairy tales, almost.
Yeah, it's a very simple book. The overall concept is it'll say each peach, pear, plum, I spy Tom Thumb. And then you look in the picture to try to find Tom Thumb, like he's in here, but then the next page, he'll be somewhere in the next like setting. So it'll say Tom Thumb in the cupboard, I spy Mother Hubbard. So then you're like, where's Mother Hubbard? You try to find Mother Hubbard on this page. And then Mother Hubbard will be over here and it's her story. And then it just continues like that.
Dr. Seuss books. I love Dr. Seuss books. And they're always fun to read whenever, but like especially
And the
when
Lorax.
your kids are smaller.
Yeah, love Dr. Seuss.
Dr.
So
Seuss
many
is great.
different great Dr. Seuss books.
Another thing I didn't get was Shel Silverstein. I also really loved Shel Silverstein's poems because they're funny and they're just kind of ridiculous.
Well, thank you so much,
Anyways,
Bailey.
yay!
Great
and
suggestions.
Wait, one more.
Yes.
One book that I really loved when I was little was Roxaboxen, which I do not know where it is, but we have it somewhere. We probably have like 3 copies.
That one is based off of a true story, and it's the author's experience as a child creating a little town in the desert with their friends.
Yeah,
Okay, I was about to talk about board games because we're a big gaming family.
I definitely love that.
For younger kids, Apples to Apples. The thing about Apples to Apples is that you kind of need readers.
You can find some versions of Apples to Apples where they have like the main green card is a word, but then the red cards that you play are pictures.
Yeah, I think that's the
But
solution
that's
for
pretty
like.
hard to find.
Well, and it's also like a little bit less fun for. I feel like there's this point when a kid gets into the reading phase, and Apples to Apples is just kind of fun for like all ages above that, and that's really cool. Catan Junior, fantastic game. I feel like most 5 and up can learn, especially if you like really sit there and explain it to them patiently. But it's really fun for the adults too. Like it's not just a game that you're playing so the kid will be happy. You are both happy. It is really great. And it's a great introduction to the basics of Catan so that your then even younger kid can play Catan with you, which is a lot of fun because Catan is super fun. But Catan Junior is like very similar in the level of fun, even for adults. Another game that's great for the youngest of kids is the game Zingo. That one works, I would say 2 and up. Like, I don't think that's what it's aged at, but most 2-year-olds that I've had, I've been able to explain on some level how to play Zingo. And it, again, is a lot of fun, even for the adults, even playing against the 2-year-old. It's a version of bingo that's played with picture cards. So they need to be able to like identify a house or a smile or a tree. Now, when you're an adult and playing your hardest, yes, it's more likely that you're gonna win because you're gonna be like the faster at getting the things that are both on the cards. But what I like is even if you're being your toughest or your softest, like either could still win. Another game that we love and we always talk about is Mysterium.
Oh yeah, that one's classic.
And that's a group game, older kids, but it's a lot of fun. You have one person who plays the ghost and they're kind of like, sort of like a narrator person. They're playing their own game, but they're not necessarily playing the same things that the other people are doing, but they are still like having their own version of fun, if that makes sense. Like, it's not like they're totally just narrating it. They're interacting in their own way. And then there's a group of people who are also playing their own game, but also collaboratively, and it's very interesting and very, very fun and well done. Next up would be my favorite game, Pandemic. There are a ton of different expansions to Pandemic. There are also standalone games with Pandemic. I actually, at this point in my life, play Pandemic mostly online on a website called Board Game Arena. So that's another gift that you can give. They have so many different games, and I think it's like around $30 for a yearly membership to Board Game Arena. I can play Pandemic one player by myself on Board Game Arena, which I really appreciate. A lot of the games are 2 players or more. It is an online space, so you want to make sure if you're like having a kid go on there that they know that there is like chat. I don't know, you might be able to turn the chat function off, but I don't know. And also, like, our kids never play with strangers. So
We normally all just play together.
yeah, so we play together or we play by myself. We love the game Dominion. We had all of the cards for it. It's like cards and boxes and boxes and cards. And I was trying to get this actual like a case that combines it all. And there wasn't one. There was one that was like in German, I think. Like, I tried for years to find something where I could keep all my Dominion cards all in one spot instead of just having boxes and boxes and boxes.
Yeah, we had like 20 boxes.
Yeah. So, big solution for us has been to play Dominion online, and that's on its own platform. So that's dominion.games, and it's more expensive. Like, I think it's like a couple years for like $150 or something like that. And then you get access to all of the expansions. So for us, that was a good trade-off. We ended up like saving up a bunch of space in our house because I got rid of all of our expansions and all of our things, and we just play it online. It makes it super easy to set up. It tracks the score really easily, so you can play like very fast and lots of games, whereas when you play it in life, it's not that bad of a setup, but it's a little bit more complicated than online. But I do think that it's very interesting that you only get that game and its expansions. I think you can play it for free with no expansions, and other paying members can invite you into their games, and then you can play the expansions. But if you want access to everything, like we have one person, me, who's the member, and then everybody else is just non-members playing games with me typically. Then Board Game Arena is similar, so you can play for free on Board Game Arena, but you have to be like invited into a game, I think. So just so you know, there are free options for both of those. But I think it's interesting that Board Game Arena has like so many games, and they're very well known, like high quality mainstream games, and also a variety of lesser known games. It costs less per year, and it's got all that stuff. And then Dominion is just Dominion, and it's more expensive. And really, Pandemic and Dominion are the most commonly played games by me and Christopher right now.
Dungeons and Dragons. I love Dungeons and Dragons. It's so fun. It is a multiplayer game. You have to be like probably like 10 and up for that one because it's pretty difficult.
And you can buy starter packs.
Yes, you
but
can.
It's also one of those things that like there are game stores sometimes around town, and you can like join that way. And
that's normally the better way to do it, because if you use the starter pack, it's just really confusing if you've never played before to be a dungeon master, which is the person who's like in charge of it all.
So I guess what I would say as far as a gift guide for that is that sometimes those game places actually charge when you go and play at the game store. So you could probably buy a pack. Like if you have something like this around you, you could get a pack of that for the person who likes Dungeons and Dragons. So like, I think it's $5 per day at one of the game stores near us. And then when you used to go, was it $5 or $10?
I think it's $5.
Yeah, it was around $5 or $10, and they would go weekly to this place that was a little bit further away. And they actually have online groups that meet up. OutSchool has groups that do it, and you can also do it online with other friends.
It's really fun. Being the dungeon master is really difficult, but if you're a player, it's like extremely fun. And when you're a dungeon master, it's fun too, but probably more fun if you know the rules, which I didn't when I tried to DM. My second favorite game is Mansions of Madness, which you need an iPad for, or like some sort of device. And it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but more horror themed.
When Bailey says that you need an iPad, it's not like a game that's on an iPad. It's like a giant box with a lot of stuff in it. And then also the iPad acts almost as if it's a dungeon master and it guides you through the game. So it's really helpful. It is a complicated Dungeons and Dragons style game, kind of like Arkham Horror-y, like that, and older kids. So if you're getting that, it's like older people, older kids, complicated game. Now the exact opposite, the simple games and the things that are great like stocking stuffers are things like Uno, a deck of cards. They make decks of cards with like fun, interesting backs now. And then as far as like kind of younger, simpler family games, we love Dixit. That's a really, really good game. It's also similar to Mysterium, but like a simpler version of Mysterium. But if you like Dixit, look at Mysterium because it uses a similar concept. The game Villainous, it's Disney villains and like a lot of people like that. It's very mainstream.
Everyone's playing their own game in that one. It's really fun.
Yeah, and then the gameplay of Villainous, if you want to level that up and do like the adult version, and Villainous is an adult game, but like, or like an older person game. The game Scythe is a fantastic adult game, but again, for serious gamers. But it uses a similar gameplay as Villainous if you like Villainous and want to do something more like that.
I also really like the game Exploding Kittens. It's very fun, it's very fast, and it's pretty easy.
So I think that wraps up most of our game recommendations for this year, at least. I also wanted to say, like, as a mom, I know sometimes it's hard to find gifts for like the parents and, you know, the older people like me. And I really like monthly boxes, and you can buy them 1 month or 3 months or a whole year, which I appreciate. And I especially like FabFitFun. I used to love Pop Sugar boxes, but they're gone now. But the next similar thing I would say is FabFitFun, and it's a great time. I think it's quarterly though. It's not, you don't get a whole year. I think you get 4 boxes a year, but it is great. In past years, I've also gotten a lot of boxes for the kids that are like world themed and world foods around the world, things like that. Jacob got a box that was Japanese foods.
I got one from France.
Bailey got one from France.
So cool.
And again, I'll put all those boxes, I think, in my link tree. I don't think I'll be able to find them in this YouTube shopping zone. And then Duncan didn't get world stuff, but he got popcorn, and that was really fun. He really liked that a lot. So I think boxes are very fun, and they're a gift that can go the whole year. I was also just talking yesterday about BarkBox because I love BarkBox if you're looking for something for your pet, but do be aware of like if your dog needs more toys or less toys, because I signed up for too many boxes. I didn't need as many as I got, but they are very high quality and great boxes for a pet. And then also for all of the ages of kids that we have, there's a company called KiwiCo, and they make Kiwi Crate, Atlas Crate. They make a bunch of different crates depending on the ages of and interests. So there's also Doodle Crate, and Atlas Crate is places around the world, and they have like crates that are art and science based that my kids just love, and they're really, really high quality. I'm always very impressed every month when they come, so I do really recommend Kiwi Crate boxes. And they also have this more advanced box, I can't remember the name of it right now, very interesting, intricate set, and very, very much more advanced. But it's neat because you can seriously get from newborn up until almost adult. Honestly, I have so many other things. We have like, Christopher has stuff for dads and guitarists, and I have things for new parents, but this list is just banana pants long. I'm sorry, as I said before, I am new at this, so I probably spoke too long, and I'm sorry, but I'm just so excited about sharing the things that we love and have loved for years with all of you. Thank you so much for listening to my gift guide. Again, I will add it to my link tree that is in the box down below, the description box. And then also it's linked in my like Instagram. And I will also put as many things as I can inside of this like shopping tab that YouTube has, but I don't know what they'll have, but I will try to make it easy for you because we love easy. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that this helped you, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy everything. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season already.
Decided to build it?
Yep.
Yeah, it looks good. Missing a couple pieces though.
Yeah.
It's a well-loved puzzle.
Let me count the pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9 pieces missing?
9.
We'll find them.
As I said, this is one of my favorites in the video that I did with my mom.